Hello ladies and gentlemen, Inside Jacob's Mind here with another movie review, and it's that time of year, and it's a time of year that is coming more and more often. It is new MCU movie time. Now, they're doing 3 a year now. For a while it was 2, and starting last year they've been doing 3 a year, so, you know, it's a beautiful time to be a comic book movie fan, or a comic book fan in general, superhero fan, or a movie fan, because it is a really impressive achievement, the MCU. They're 18 movies in now. This year will mark their 10th year of doing it. Now, not many franchises can say that and have had this much success, and they're only getting bigger and bigger and better. And real quickly, I just want to give a big thank you to Palace Nova Cinemas in Adelaide for hooking me up with tickets to see this one. I really appreciate it. Now, Black Panther is a bit of a landmark achievement for them. It is the first MCU movie that is not only led by people of color, but the cast is pretty much predominantly black, and that is just, it's something that we very rarely see in not only superhero movies, but movies in general, and I hope it's going to be a game changer. I hope it means that more studios are going to feel that people of color are a draw card and are strong enough to lead a film, because they obviously are, and there are so many stories here to be told, and that's why Black Panther is an extremely important movie. Now, Black Panther takes us to a corner of the MCU that we haven't really explored yet, the country of Wakanda. It's kind of a hidden sort of nation, and they're incredibly technologically advanced, because the country has just got tons of mines full of vibranium, the most powerful metal on Earth, and that's what his suit's made out of and everything, and, so they're really technologically advanced, and they have a bunch of healing powers and stuff, but they're kind of hidden it from the world, so they can, pick their battles, help out when they need to, but they're ultimately about protecting their own people. And we met Prince T'Challa, Black Panther, played by Chadwick Boseman, who is great once again in Civil War, and this kind of picks up after his father was killed in a bombing at the UN, and he has to take over the mantle of king and of the superhero, the Black Panther, and it was really cool experiencing Wakanda. The world building was great, all of their sort of rituals, all the process he goes through to become king was really cool, and we get introduced to a lot of great new characters. As I said, Boseman's great, and we got a great female supporting cast surrounding him. Lupita Nyong'o as Nakia, who's sort of a spy. She's his ex, so there's sort of a bit of romantic tension between those two, and she was fantastic. Danai Gurira as Okoye, who is a really sort of stern warrior, another sort of right-hand man to the king, and, she was great. And then Shuri, played by Letitia, Wright, I believe, and she was fantastic. She's kind of like their tech master, and it's like a James Bond movie in some ways, all the cool gadgets they have, and she was a really great character, and had a lot of great lines. Daniel Kaluuya, who you might know from Get Out, is also great here. He played sort of a leader of one of the other tribes who might not necessarily agree with T'Challa's ruling strategies and everything. Let me talk about the real scene stealer, though. Michael B. Jordan as Eric Killmonger. He's a kid who grew up in Oakland, California, but he has this sort of connection to Wakanda that I won't really spoil what the background is with his character, but he ends up sort of clashing with T'Challa over the throne, and he's one of the best villains the MCU have had yet. Michael B. Jordan has such an incredible screen presence, and he's terrifying, but the most important thing is he's human. He is humanized, and you get where he's coming from. It's not quite the level of sympathetic villain as maybe the Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming, but he was a very compelling character, and whenever he was on screen is when the movie was at its best. Now, this is directed by Ryan Coogler, who made Fruitvale Station and Creed, also both starring Michael B. Jordan. Those are two fantastic, powerful, emotional movies, and I was really interested to see what he would bring to Black Panther, and he does bring a lot of that. He brings a sort of depth that you don't see in every Marvel movie, it does have something very important to say about the marginalization of black people, and there's a sort of political debate over whether Wakanda should share their weapons with the world. Not necessarily weapons, but their technology and their healing power, and if they were to share their stuff with the world, then all these people who have been oppressed for so long could maybe have the strength and the resources to rise up. And there's a really interesting political debate there, and you kind of see where both characters are coming from, between T'Challa and between Eric Killmonger, and it does have a really great message. Like I said, so many kids are going to look at this movie and be inspired and think, hey, I am finally seeing myself on screen, I can finally see myself as a superhero, and I just think that's a really, really beautiful thing Marvel have done here. This is a fantastic film for women as well. There are a lot of women who worked on it. It was filmed by Rachel Morrison, who was the first female cinematographer to get nominated for an Oscar for Mudbound, which is really cool. And again, great female characters. Like, a lot of the female side characters have so much more depth than you would see in a lot of MCU movies. But the movie as a whole, it never quite gets out of second gear. For all the great things it does, and the colors are amazing. Marvel have been nailing their colors lately, and they build Wakanda really well. It isn't perfect. It does have a few issues. The pacing might be a little off. It is a little long. It does drag a bit in the second act. And the main thing that let me down were the action sequences. Some of them were great, but some of the visual effects were kind of wonky, and it led to some of them looking fake. There's a sort of showdown between the main hero and villain that just kind of felt like two CGI suits fighting, and I didn't really feel any weight or stakes in that regard. And yeah, plot-wise, it's not too different from most MCU movies. It does follow their formula. I think Thor Ragnarok did more to break the MCU mold than Black Panther does. But all that being said, pretty minor issues. Black Panther was a great time. I'm definitely going to check it out again at some point. And I highly recommend it. And I highly recommend supporting this movie, because if this thing makes money, it could genuinely be a game changer. I'm going to give Black Panther a 7.5 out of 10. It's probably in the mid-range of MCU so far, sort of fits in with your Ant-Mans and your Captain America ones and stuff, and it was really enjoyable. But with Ryan Coogler directing it, someone who's made two incredible films in the past, I maybe hoped for a little bit more, but it is a really, really great film that is going to hopefully change the superhero landscape forever, much like the impact Wonder Woman had last year. So thanks for watching this review. Like, subscribe, all that, share it around, and go see Black Panther while it's in theaters. Go support this movie. You will have a great time.